Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 265B of Tales with TR. And in this episode, Mark from Saskatoon wants to know if I've seen any good movies lately. I'll tell you this. I watched two great movies lately. One that I've already seen, another one last night that I thought I'd seen and I didn't. And I'd like to talk about that for a minute. And we ain't talking recent. So yes, when you say lately, I did watch it lately, but it's got to be 50 years old, I suppose. And it's called Chinatown with Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway and John Huston, who was looked like a corpse. I mean, he must have been fucking 80. And I think, isn't he Angelica Houston's father? Let me see. And this guy pops up, okay, 1906 he was born, okay. Died in 87. And I believe John Huston, Angelica Houston. I know she was an actress. They all might have been, I don't know. 1906. Really think about that, right? He was born and movies weren't even a thing. Okay, Houston in Chinatown in 1974. So I suppose he was 70, just about. And I often go back and watch those classic movies, and I looked. I'm trying to take in every movie. It always changes. They got AFI, top 100 ever. A lot of magazines, websites do it. I mean, who's right, who's wrong? It's all subjective, right? It's all fucking subjective. Who you to fucking tell me? Now, I can tell if a movie absolutely sucks, right? I mean, you can wipe some. I'm not saying that every movie is a fucking classic. But when it comes to these movies that are great or even good, I mean, I'll use some, I do use Rotten Tomatoes. I want to see what people say, but if it gets like a 2%, obviously it sucks. Anything like 50 or 60, who knows? And sometimes the reasons people don't like a particular movie might say, oh, it might be like The Hangover 2, which I found funny. But it might say, oh, this is all repetitive. Okay. Is it really a knock? Now, these movies aren't hangovers. I don't consider, I don't watch those to be, for some kind of serious introspective judgment of the human condition. I watch those because I want to relax, zone out, and laugh. Anyway, so I'll give anything a shot. And then you get these like top 100 ever, and they're all like fucking unreal, right? They're all great. Most of them I've already seen at this point. I took this on, I remember years ago. I remember the first time I thought to do this, I was living in Montreal and at Dulamontang Street with Tux. I largely felt not alone, but in a way, I was a teenager, the only one on the Habs that year, and I didn't play much. I was an outsider for a few reasons. I didn't always hang at the coolest spots. I'd follow along with the guys, not every single night. And, in junior, I'd just have somebody over. We'd probably get Mark Hurley's hot tub, or me and Craig Stahl and Lanks, I don't know, would go for a drive in our sports cars, or, we'd hit up one of our friends' places at Kamaikan High School. There's all kinds of ways that we'd burn time, play video games, whatever. But I was a bit lost in Montreal. So, I didn't in any way not enjoy it. I knew my place. And I was getting to know Montreal. It was all good, but I had a lot of nights to myself, and that was the peak of like Blockbuster Video and stuff, man. And we have one right next to the place, so I used to stop in and get movies all the time. I started trying to, and they would have like Bob's Picks, or I think there's a Seinfeld on that. You'd always go in, and if you found the right video store and the right critic, or that kind of matched your taste, you were set, right? Now it just comes up on the queue, the algorithm. So each place I went that in Tri-Cities or Quesnel or Mount Pearl here or Montreal, Fredericton eventually, I'd always have a favorite movie store and then, a favorite recommendation aisle or whatever, rack. So, and this one place used to go through, like, this is in the top AFIs, whatever it is, the top 100 movies ever, and the typical psycho, oh God, Taxi Driver, the same ones always come up, Apocalypse Now. It's the first time I watched Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane is at number one on a lot of those lists. So without getting into that, I think I have on here before, there's reasons for that. It's like 1940 or 41, and it's still worth seeing, trust me. And around the same time, I prefer the Maltese Falcon. Okay, the Maltese Falcon was on that list, still is. James Stewart, Humphrey Bogart, and Maltese Falcon. It's like a film noir, like kind of detective caper. And in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, it fascinates me that radio would have been the medium of choice. So if you had supper with your family dinner, rather than shortly after that, like sit around and watch, I don't know, Hockey Night in Canada or TV of some sort, right? The TVs weren't really a thing yet. So Sam Spade, the character that they're playing in the Maltese Falcon that Humphrey Bogart is playing, Sam Spade, that was a hit detective show. I go back and listen to them. They're on YouTube. They're on old-timey broadcast, old-timey radio, I think is the app. You can find them anywhere, but they're fascinating. They're the first detective. A lot of those detective movies and caper movies came from those, right? They were, Sam Spade was a detective. Johnny Dollar was an insurance agent, and it was the same sort of thing, if you can believe it. I know. And these, even if you watch, I don't know. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. If you watch anything from Miami Vice to NYPD Blue, whatever, Law and Order, a lot of them are based on, because there's so many of those shows back then. And probably the most popular of which, according to my history books, was Sam Spade, The Adventures of Sam Spade. I listened to a lot of it. I still do. I don't mean as a kid. I didn't even know about it as a kid. I listen to it now. And to be honest, if you're from Newfoundland or you know what I'm talking about, I go down by Middle Cove and I turn the lights out in the fucking Jeep and I listen. It's like time travel. Just you're looking out at the ocean and you might see a bit of moonlight on the waves, but other than that, you can just faintly hear the waves coming in as I listen to a broadcast from like 1935. It's fucking wild. Anyway, they're great, and they're they're voice actors and all that, and there was a whole thing, right? So anyway, Sam Spade came to the world could see him in the form of Humphrey Bogart in Maltese Falcon, which is also a great movie. Check it out, man. It's a great movie. Some movies you go back and it's like torture. It's almost like a history lesson. Okay, I might as well watch it. John Wayne has a few of those. He has some good ones. The Searcher is probably my favorite, but he has some that it's just like, is this really a movie? You can tell that it's a film set and like the lines are so cheesy. It's almost like B-movie fun. But this is fucking fantastic, Maltese Falcon. Well, Chinatown, Jack Nicholson, is of the same ilk. It came out in 1974, and I really thought that he was a cop in Chinatown in the 70s. That's what I thought. Even the poster kind of, I don't know, it doesn't exactly say that, but for some reason that's what I took from it. And the odd like phrase or pop culture reference, right? And he looks like a grizzled cop, but it's not. It's 1974, but they're doing, even the credits that come up at the beginning and the end, it's almost an homage to film noir. Like they're doing a 50s movie. So the setting of the movie is in the late 40s or early 50s, okay? And it's made in 1974. Jack Nicholson is playing a detective, not a cop, which changes things. And if you, every time I watch a movie, especially one like that, I go back and I try to take in what made it great, right? And so pretty much what I've come to learn now is that it's an homage and there is a somewhat of a true story. If you look into that, you're going to read a bit of a spoiler. I tell you this, it fucking threw me for a loop. Those of you that watch The Sixth Sense, remember when he says, I see dead or whatever, and you figure out exactly what's happening? There's a moment like that in there. I'm going, holy fuck. Really? Like, and most movies I go back and watch and I'm like, okay, I didn't see it and I see why it was okay. I wanted to watch it. I watched it with the great actress Maxime Roy. And Maxime thought the same. I mean, and she's an accomplished actress, with a far more built resume than mine, but she thought the same. And for some reason, the movie had escaped us for this long. And I thought it was fucking fantastic. I really did. I thought, I don't want to give too much away. If you know Jack Nicholson, though, he's one of the best actors of his era, right? I mean, even if you're Penny Lane's age, you'd probably have heard of the name or, heard of at least his legend. I guess I would recommend One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, A Few Good Men. Oh, God, you know what? I got to look because there's another couple. He had one, As Good as It Gets. As Good as It Gets, yeah, that was probably the last time he was nominated. Jack. The Shining, yeah, fuck. God, how did I forget that? Anger Management, forgot those are like Happy Gilmore, it's pretty funny. The Departed, yeah. What am I talking about? as good as it gets. The fucking Departed was 9 years after that. The Pledge, Wolf, A Few Good Men, Batman, there's a Joker for you. Reds, yeah, The Shining, The Missouri Breaks, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Chinatown, God, The Last Eat, Five Easy Pieces, there you fucking go. Easy Rider, some classics, man. He's in a bunch that are in the top 100 there. Easy Rider and Five Easy Pieces starting there. Fucking Shining, A Few Good Men. Anyway, Terms of Endearment. There you go. I forgot he was in that. Broadcast News. Batman. There. Fuck, he's unreal in Batman. Anyway, that's Nicholson. And Chinatown would be him in the prime of his acting career. You know, his prime lasted so long. I don't know if it's just, you know, it's a great fucking actor doing great things. The movie is Chinatown. It's Faye Dunaway, I know that. It's John Huston. Okay, it was directed by Roman Polanski. He's also in it. I noticed he's in it. He's in it briefly, but he's in there. Paramount Pictures, 1974. Psychological drama, to say the least. I would say Detective Caper. Anyway, look at this. It won 4 awards, including Best Picture, Drama, Best Director, Best Actor. And it was nominated for a bunch more. Anyway, there you go. Seen any good movies lately? Yes, I have, Mark. There it is, Chinatown. The other one being Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. One of my favorites. Had to show it to Penny Lane. I think it's a modern-day version of Romeo and Juliet. Check that out. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening, folks. I'll be back next week with a guest, and I hope you're having as good of a summer as I am. I'll see you soon. Montreal. I'll be in Montreal on the 13th and 14th, and I will see you, Prince Edward Island, Mill River Golf Course, July 16th to the 20th. Thanks for listening, folks. Really appreciate it. If you're downtown St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, you want to go to a bar, you want to check out George Street, go to Trinity Pub, TJ's Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, Martini Bar, Green Sleeves, of course, the Bull and Barrel. If you want to go for a bite to eat, try the Loose Tie. Why not? Try Blue on Water and try Wedgwood Cafe. Also do catering. You want to work out, you want strength and balance for the body and mind? Try Ryan Power Conditioning on Rope Walk Lane. You want to go Mr. Lube? There's 2 locations right here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. One's on Kemont Road, one's on Torbay Road. Live, laugh, lube! Crown Cabinets. Just because. Go to Crown Cabinets. They're awesome. Carpet Factory, laying the carpet for your community. G&S Construction, laying the groundwork for your community if you happen to be in Edmonton, Alberta. True Hockey, take what's yours. And Muggsy Jeans, I loves me Muggsy Jeans. Folks, thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with more Tales. TR.